if you've seen me in my previous roles, I've been for the most part topless, and so I think that it has it has made me very comfortable to be on camera as I am.
A new show on Apple TV features Minnesotan Dallas Goldtooth taking on a much more serious role than what you may have seen him in. Dallas is Diné and is a member of the Lower Sioux Indian Community in Morton, Minnesota, and he currently lives in Chicago. His roots are in comedy with roles in TV shows like Reservation Dogs and Rutherford Falls, and his newest role is in the show The Last Frontier. Here's a clip from the trailer.
All right, everyone, circle up. We have a down plane 2 miles south from here. It is used to move inmates around the country. 11 a capture, 18 still missing. This is going to be their one shot at freedom.
Mr. Remnick, Sidney Schofield, CIA. Havelock's out there executing a plan. Do whatever it takes to secure the perimeter.
Knock, knock.
Schofield, this is Alaska. There is no perimeter.
Dallas Goldtooth joins us in studio to talk about The Last Frontier. Thanks for being here, Dallas.
Oh, hey! Ooh, I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here, everybody.
Amazing. Wow, that sounds so fun. The Last Frontier, I'll just give a bit of an intro to the show. The Last Frontier follows U.S. Marshals as they protect their Alaskan community in the aftermath of a prisoner transport plane crash. Sounds very intriguing. And Dallas, you play the character Hutch, a U.S. Marshal. Tell me about the show a bit, without any spoilers. What's at the heart of The Last Frontier from your perspective?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm super, super excited to be here. I'm from Minnesota, so just is an honor to be on NPR right now. But yeah, this show is like it's The Fugitive meets Con Air. If you remember those films, you know, it is high intrigue, high intensity action thriller, where I play a U.S. federal marshal. I'm part of the Marshal Service, and I, along with my crew and my boss, are set on a mission to apprehend convicts who survived a plane crash in northern remote Alaska. And one of those convicts on that plane is like a rogue agent. You don't know who he works for, but he has a history. And the story essentially is, who is this guy? Why is he on this plane? And what is his nefarious mission that he is on? And we get wrapped into this whole world of espionage that we, as humble U.S. Marshals in Fairbanks, Alaska, is far above our head, but we take the task on straightforward.
I'm wondering a little bit about the title, Dallas. How does the title The Last Frontier play into the themes of the show? Yeah,
so, The Last Frontier is actually the motto, the nickname of Alaska. And I mean, I'll be very, very straightforward. As a Native person, it's a contentious title to me, right? It's this belief. It's very much from the perspective of the state, the perspective of settler colonialism, of this idea that the frontier is this edge of civilization idea. And so I always want to be mindful that for the Native peoples of that territory, it's not the edges of civilization, it's the heart of their civilization. It's the same that goes for Minnesota, right? For Dakota, Ho-Chunk, and Anishinaabe peoples. But for this story, the idea of the frontier is that it's the last place to go for these convicts on the run. There's nowhere else to go. And so it is a modern Western of sorts, where we're on the hunt. We play these law enforcement that track down these bad guys.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell me, it sounds so intriguing, but what was it like working with the cast?
Oh, the cast is amazing. So first of all, I've never been in a role like this. I've never done action. I've never done something where, for the most part, I'm kind of a stoic button-up type on screen. I got to work with Jason Clark. Jason Clark is an actor's actor. He is somebody that you've seen in so many different roles, and he has such a wide range. And to have worked with him was an immense blessing as a performer, as an actor, because he takes the craft so serious, and he really puts himself into everything he does. And so it was really an honor to work with him. And the rest of the cast was just on top of it. Like, I think they did an amazing job to make this show what it is. And also they have all these guest appearances. If you watch the trailer, yes, you do see in the trailer, you do see Johnny Knoxville. Yeah. If you don't know who Johnny Knoxville is, You look him up, but he's in this show. And so they've done a really amazing job to bring in all these amazing actors to bring the show to life.
So you talked about this being your first sort of action role. We've seen you in a lot of comedy. How has comedy prepared you to take on a more dramatic role in this instance?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, if you've seen me in my previous roles, I've been, for the most part, topless. And so I think that it has made me very comfortable to be on camera as I am. And I'm happy to say in this show, I am fully clothed for most of this. No, I think that comedy as an art form requires you to access such a wide breadth of your human response to the world, like this wide breadth of emotions that come up, whether it's sadness or tragedy, hardship or joy. It's all wrapped up in comedy, and so I think it's allowed me to be more fluid, to be more just go with the flow with all these different scenes that I'm in.
I'm not one of those awesome guys. No, I'm more of your unknown warrior. Yeah, my name, William Knife Man.
Well, and you play this character, Hutch, and there's what we see on the screen, and then there's kind of what's going on inside you. How do you embody Hutch? Can you say a bit about how you built the role and the backstory that we don't really see in the show?
Yeah, I'll be first and foremost. I felt so nervous because folks that may know me, before I got into acting, I was an organizer. I worked with a climate justice organization based out of Bemidji called the Indigenous Environmental Network. Shout out to our folks in the 218 up north. And, in that world of activism and organizing, right, there's a certain perception of law enforcement. And here I am, I'm playing a federal law enforcement. And I'm playing not only that, I'm playing a federal law enforcement officer in a world right now where the federal law enforcement is doing some crazy stuff. And so I think that I could not, separate myself from that to a certain degree, but also acknowledge that, here's an opportunity to highlight and show and represent Alaska Natives. In my work as an organizer, I worked with a lot of frontline communities and organizations in northern Alaska who were fighting various forms of extractive development. In particular, the fight to protect the Alaska National Wildlife Refuge from oil extraction, oil development. And when I got this role, the first people I called were my folks I knew up in Fairbanks. And one of the brothers I called, his name's Sam Alexander, turns out to actually he was the cultural consultant for this show. So I was like, hey, I got this role. He's like, hey, I'm the cultural consultant. Let's work it out. And I wanted to make sure I did right by the community because I'm not Diné, I'm not Gwich'in, I'm Dakota. And I think that a lot of people who don't know that don't recognize that diversity within Indian country. So it is a task to play a different tribe than yourself and than your own. So I just wanted to make sure I did it right, and I put in a lot of time and research into it. The other part of the research for the job is actually talk to Native U.S. Marshals. So I reached out to a number of U.S. Marshals who are Native, who are part of the Marshal Service, and talked about their work and where they come from. And a lot of them actually came from tribal law enforcement. So there were tribal cops, tribal police officers who went to the federal level. And so that was really, really informative. I really, really appreciated that.
So the show takes place in Alaska. Were you in Alaska when you shot this, or were you elsewhere?
No, we actually filmed this in Montreal, in Quebec, Canada, and part of it also in Alberta. So both in Canada. And I don't know, that's the finance gods of Apple who decided it might have been cheaper to go to Canada. But we filmed most of it there in Montreal, lived there for 6 months, and it worked out. I think that they did a good job of recreating Alaska in that sense.
But importantly, it's a snowy environment there. Was it actually snowy? Was it actually cold?
Yes. Yeah, it was actually cold.
Okay.
We actually, interesting enough, we ran out of snow. Oh. There's this little thing called climate change. Most people, talking about these days. Well, the winter ended early. And so we were chasing snow in the production. We had to actually reorganize the production just to shoot all the exterior scenes sooner so that we can capture as much snow as possible. And there was a couple scenes where they had to use fake snow. They had to pump it in. And that's one of the reasons why we went to Alberta, is it because we had some scenes that we needed snow. We didn't have snow, so we had to go to Alberta into the mountains to film those extra scenes. And I get this question a lot of like, what was it like working in the snow? What was it like? How did the cold impact you? I'm like, dude, I'm from Minnesota, man. Like, I still remember, like all of us do, the winter of 93. We all remember Halloween, 1993, right?
1981.
1991.
Right?
1991. Okay.
I was there.
Yeah, I was there in the 90s. So, yeah.
I saw the first episode there. There's a lot of drama, and you were fighting a little bit there. Do you do your own stunts? Do you do your own fights? What was that? How was that?
Yeah, I got to do my own stunts. I asked, the first thing they ask is, how comfortable do you feel about doing stunts? Like, they were really, really good about that. And I was like, dude, I want to do it all. Like, I'm down. I'm game for it all. This is a new genre for me. So I'm like, don't hold back. So I had a stunt double who was on hand to basically, he was going to be like, if you don't want to do anything, I'll do it. And I was like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it all. And he was like, cool, I still get paid. So I'm just going to chill over here and do some other stuff. So in the first episode is a one take scene where we shoot everything as one long scene. So 6 minute, one take. And it's an action sequence in which we had to do a lot of choreography. We spent a whole week doing choreography rehearsals for that, and that was pretty intense, pretty cool to be a part of. And I just want to give a shout out to all of our stuntmen on this show. Went above and beyond to make this show the action-packed ride it is. So it was really, really cool to work with these guys.
Nice. And to be honest, Melissa and I were wondering if you had a stunt double out there.
Yeah, I did.
So, yeah.
We did. His name was Hawk.
I think people want to know that there exists somewhere in the world a stunt double for Dallas Goldtooth.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun. I'm curious, too. This show has been out in the world now for a little bit. What are you hearing from fans? What's some of the reaction?
Folks like it. I think that there's a fair amount of folks who really enjoyed it. I post on my Facebooks and all that stuff on social media, and a lot of folks are enjoying watching it. I guess for me, this show reminds me of like kind of 1990s, 2000s action series where you kind of, it's escapist. It's escapist TV, and let's all be honest. Given what's happening in the world today, sometimes a little escapist narratives is helpful, and so it's just an action-packed ride, thriller all the way through, with all these different twists and turns. So I think folks are enjoying that aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, what did you think when you first read the script for the show?
Oh man, I was so excited just to be in an action role and to be like, when I started my acting career, which wasn't too long ago. I mean, to be honest, it wasn't that long ago. It was like just after the pandemic with Reservation Dogs. I really wanted to pursue a career where I could go as far as I could without booking like one of those serious Indians on a horseback roles. Like, I want to see how far I can go before I end up taking a Dance with Wolves role. I think that as a comedian, as an artist, but also as an organizer, I think that there's inherent power in showing Native people in a contemporary setting, just as regular people in regular jobs. And I feel like this show contributes to that, right? There's some other Native actresses in this show that, are just people in the show. And I think that's really, really powerful to see.
Did Reservation Dogs help move that along? Did it, as a successful, acclaimed TV show, provide you and other actors that ability to start to look at roles that were not stereotypical in some way?
Yeah, I absolutely. I think that Reservation Dogs not only pushed the dial for actors, but also for writers, producers, and directors, because the show was all Native-led all the way through. I think that there has been a shift, it definitely has contributed to the shift in Hollywood, where we're seeing a lot more Native presence in a lot of different stories. I mean, it still has a ways to go, but I think that we're definitely seeing an influence from Reservation Dogs and other productions like Rutherford Falls, or even Dark Winds on AMC. Like you see these shows having some influence.
You know, you mentioned who you first called. You called up north after you learned you got the role. Who was the second person you called?
I called my brother, Migazi. Oh. My brother, Migazi, is my stepbrother. He's from Bemidji, and he's a writer-producer. Mm-hmm. He just got off Alien Earth production as one of the writer-producers for it. So we grew up, we started the comedy group 1491s together. It's a comedy group that we started here in the Twin Cities. Our first show was actually in White Earth, up on the res. I think we did a show in at the Indian Center in Minneapolis, but our second show was in White Earth. And, he's my ride or die partner. We grew up wanting to make movies together. He went to LA. I stayed here, but we ended up somehow making 1491s together. And so he's my hero. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to talk to him about it, and he's been supportive the entire way through.
Mm-hmm. So 1491s, what has been kind of one of those sketches that keeps living on, do you find, that people reference? And I have my favorites. I know Melissa probably has.
Yeah, we all have
too.
our favorites.
It's funny because it's dated, right? Like I watch it now, and like they're super dated.
Oh,
but
totally.
I think the Slapping Medicine Man is the most referenced one. And for folks that don't know, the concept of the story of this YouTube skit that we created was a slapping medicine man. People would come to the medicine man for telling him their problems, and he effectively just slaps them and says, "Well, hey, take responsibility for yourself." And it's absurd, but it is actually, like, a lot of folks know us for that.
Well, I gossip from time to time, We'll cut it out.
I think there's a really good lesson in that too. You show up to the medicine man, you want advice, you bring him, a can of coffee or something like that, a little present, and then, you kind of expect, something profound, right? And so it subverts that expectation of what you might go there for, some sort of deep, like, wizardy advice, but instead you get a dose of reality instead.
Absolutely. I think the idea is that you want your problems to be absolved with just some wise words, but really it's like, okay, what have you done to contribute to the circumstances that you're trying to get rid of here?
Mm-hmm. Change your actions. I know I have actually shown my son that video to to kind of to bring that point home. I'm curious actually about fame. You're kind of being, you're more recognized out there. Do people recognize you on the street when you're getting coffee or walking down the road, or what is that like? Are you getting recognized?
It depends. Yes, I do, but not as much as people would think, but I do get recognized from time to time, and it's really, really nice. It's lovely. People come up and they'll say hi. The last time I got recognized was actually in Seattle. I was in Seattle last week. I was emceeing this fundraiser event for this amazing organization called Chief Seattle Club. They build housing for homeless Native folks. And I was just walking to the street to the fundraiser, and this guy was like, "Hey, Dallas." And I come over, and he's wearing a Carpenters Union shirt. And he's like, "Hey, man, I just want to say I follow you on TikTok. And I can't believe you're here. Here's my card. I love what you do. I love what you say on TikTok. And if you know anyone that's looking for carpenters, we love to support building homes for Native folks." And I was like, "Hey, thank you. Appreciate it." And I brought it to the fundraiser. So it's very gracious, very, very lovely. Shout out to all our union workers out there. I've been recognized here and there, but not as much as people would think, but it's always nice. People are really, really, really gracious. In Indian country, though, for natives.
Yeah, I mean, I think this
for natives, though.
Yeah, this question about fame, I guess there's something that's like Indian famous or something like that, right? But because it means so much to people to be able to see themselves reflected in the character or the characters that you play, whether that's Reservation Dogs or The Last Frontier or something else. I'm curious about how you continue to sort of hold that, because that's got to be kind of a balance too, right?
Yeah, I think honestly, 1491's really, really, really helped me because I was native famous because of 1491's early. So it kind of helped transition, right? So like a lot of folks saw the 1491's comedy work, knew us because we would do shows. And also here in Minnesota, like, I was an active member of the community. So like people got used to seeing me. And so it actually eased the tension I carry where I don't feel, especially around my own folks in community, I don't feel as nervous or apprehensive. And I feel a little bit more protected in some ways, right? There is a certain amount of pressure in different settings where I'm like, all right, I need my space. But for the most part, I think that I've been able to walk that line fairly well, to where I don't feel the burden or feel kind of jaded from all that energy, because it really comes down to a lot of energy in that way. So yeah, and I think that because of my TikToks and my activism, political activism, also it's certain people that come up to me who are also pretty strong allies, right? And so I think that's also really unique is I have folks that come to me about the acting side, but then other people who see me for my activism work as well. And so I get a wide breadth of people that come up.
While you're in town here in the Twin Cities, are you getting out and about? Are you hitting up some local haunts or anything like that?
A boat. I'm here for a short spin. So Apple has me on this little tour. I'm here for like a day and a half. Then I go to St. Louis. I'm going to be going down there. I'm trying to get to Owamini. I tried going today, couldn't make it in. So I'm going to try to get to Owamini, the native restaurant downtown. And trying to get some other food in.
So we're curious. You've wrapped on The Last Frontier. Do you know what's next? Is there more action?
I'm curious too. I think that what folks don't know about the acting world, like I guess the film industry, it's very much a gig economy, right? You got a job and you're waiting to work on the next job and you got to hustle for that. And the economy or the market, the business has been taking a hit over the past few years. And so a lot less shows are being made. The seasons are a lot shorter. And so I have a lot of friends and comrades in the film industry who are also suffering and struggling trying to find the next job. And I've been very fortunate to have landed The Last Frontier. We haven't had any word on season 2. We're hoping and we'll see how it goes. I'm just finished filming earlier this year, season 2 for Fallout. And so that's on the horizon. The next season comes out, I think, in December. But looking for the next gig. Exciting for it.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Dallas. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you all so much. And I appreciate NPR. I'm going to be honest. There's a little plug for NPR. I live in Chicago, and I will sometimes purposely get my little Google speaker to play NPR over WBZ. Nothing against WBZ, but NPR has my heart.
Wow. Thank you very much. Dallas Goldtooth. Dallas plays Hutch in the new Apple TV series, The Last Frontier. You can stream it now.